Hello everyone, welcome to Literally Lens. On this channel, we'll explore poems, stories, and drama with easy to follow discussions and insights. Whether you love reading or are just curious about literature, you're in the right place. So, today, I am very much excited because I'm going to start our journey with the night mail train. So, I'll be dividing this poem into two videos. Today, I will be explaining the half of the poem, and the next part will consist of the rest of the poem explanations, breaking the entire poem into themes and exploring what makes it special. So, whether you're familiar with this poem or not, I hope you find this discussion both insightful and enjoyable. So, if you like this channel, if you like these videos, don't forget to like, share, subscribe to this channel. Let's now know about the famous poet who wrote this beautiful poem known as the Night Mail. So, the poet is W.H. Auden. He was a famous English poet born in 1907 and he passed away in 1973. He was widely recognized for his varied and innovative poetry. His writing is celebrated for how it combines classical poetry forms with modern ideas. Now, some of his most notable works includes poems like Funeral Blues and The Age of Anxiety. Now, Auden had made a remarkable ability to discuss contemporary issues with depth and clarity, which has ensured his lasting influence in the literary world. Okay, so let's start. This is the night mail crossing the border, bringing the check and the postal order. Now, the poem begins by introducing the night mail train that is crossing the border, and it is likely between the England and the Scotland, and it is carrying important deliveries like checks, money orders, postal orders. Letters for the rich, letters for the poor, the shop at the corner, the girl next door. The train carries the letters for everyone, regardless of their social status, from wealthy individuals to ordinary people. Whether they live in town or neighborhoods, that doesn't matter. So the train is actually carrying the letters for everybody, no matter where they belong to or what is their status. So these things are just not considered. They are basically the train is carrying the letters in general for all. Pulling up Betok, a steady climb, the gradient's against her, but she's on time. Now, this line, pulling up Betok, a steady climb, sets the scene of the train's journey up Betok summit, which is a significant incline in the Scottish landscape. Here, the phrase steady climb is emphasizing the persistence and effort required for the train to ascend this challenging slope. Now, the word pulling suggests the powerful, the continuous effort of the train as it is climbing, evoking a sense of determination and strength. Now, the line, the gradient's against her, but she is on time. Now, what does this line depict? Despite the steep gradient working against the train is always on schedule, showcasing its reliability and efficiency. The gradient refers to the slope or the incline that the train is continuously battling as it climbs. Even though this natural obstacle could slow down the train, still it maintains its punctuality, which reflects both the engineering prowess of the train and the dedication of those who are operating it. The use of she to refer to the train personifies it, giving the train a character of its own, almost like it's a determined, hardworking entity. Past cotton grass and moorland boulder, shoveling white steam over her shoulder. Now the line, past cotton grass and moorland boulder. What is this line actually trying to convey? As the train continues its journey, it moves through the Scottish moorland, a wild, open landscape known for its rough terrain and sparse vegetation. Cotton grass is a plant that grows in such areas with tufts of white, fluffy flowers that resemble cotton. It's a delicate detail that contrasts with the rugged moorland boulder, a large rock scattered across the moors. Now, these elements paint a vivid picture of the natural environment the train is passing through. It is actually depicting the beauty of the nature, the beauty of the natural environment, an untamed, serene, and somewhat isolated landscape that the train is passing through. Shoveling white steam over her shoulder. Now, this line adds a dynamic, almost human like action to the train. The train is described as shoveling steam. Why? As if it is laboriously throwing it out of the engine, like a person might shovel snow or dirt over her shoulder. Enhances the personification, making it seem as though the train is a living entity tossing the steam behind it as it moves forward. Now, the white stem contrasts with the dark and rugged terrain, adding to the visual imaginary of the scene. This also conveys that the train's ongoing effort as it continues its journey, expelling energy as it moves through the landscape. Together, these lines not only describe the physical journey of the train, but it also evokes a sense of the relentless mechanical effort against the forces of nature. The vivid imaginary helps the reader feel the weight of the train's task, the challenge of the climb, and the interaction between the machine and the natural world. The following lines are: snorting noisily as she passes, silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Now, the word snorting is typically associated with animals, like a horse or a bull, you can say, suggesting a name of power, perhaps a sense of power. Now, that can be a bit of aggression as well. So, here it is used to describe the train, which is personified as a living, breathing creature. The snorting could refer to the sounds made by the train's engine, like the hissing of steam or the chugging of its pistons, as it propels itself forward. The choice of noisily emphasizes the loud, forceful presence of the train as it moves through the landscape. The sound contrasts with the silence of the natural environment, making the train seem almost like an intruder in the quiet countryside. Basically, the train is making a lot of noise in that quiet countryside, so that is why the poet is referring it to as like it is almost like an intruder in the quiet countryside. Silent miles of wind-bent grasses. Now, in the contrast to the train's noisy progress, the surrounding countryside is depicted as quiet, isolated, and still. Now, the phrase silent miles conveys the vastness of the landscape, with the silence stretching out over great distances, undisturbed except for the gentle movement of the grasses. That means the only sound you can hear is of the grasses, of the gentle movement of the grasses, because it's a very quiet and a very isolated, still place. The wind-bent grasses further illustrates the scene indicating that the only motion comes from the wind blowing across the fields. Just now, which I mentioned, that the only sound you can hear is of the gentle movement of the grasses. So that is what it is saying, bending the grass in its path. Now, this natural movement is very subtle and calm, contrasting sharply with the loud mechanical force of the train just now, which we have studied, which we have understood that the train is making a lot of noise in this quiet countryside. The imaginary here emphasizes the difference between the man made machine and the untouched, serene environment it travels through, highlighting the train's dominance over the stillness of the landscape. That means that the train's sound is getting dominated over the quiet place or over the quiet countryside. Birds turn their heads as she approaches, stare from bushes at her blank faced coaches. Now, the birds turn their heads as she approaches means what? This line captures a moment of curiosity and perhaps apprehension in the natural world. As the train nears, birds, which are usually focused on their own activities, they pause. They turn their heads to watch this large, noisy object approaching. The movement of the birds turning their heads suggests that the train is an unusual or disruptive presence, something out of the ordinary in their environment. It's as if the birds are intrigued with, or even a bit wary of this loud, imposing machine that suddenly enters their quiet world and disturbs them. Stare from bushes at her blank faced coaches. Now, the birds are described as staring, which implies a longer, more intense look than a mere glance. They are not just briefly noticing the train, they are actively watching it, they are actively noticing it, trying to making a sense out of it. They do this from the safety of the bushes, which suggests that they're cautious, staying hidden while observing the train. The phrase blank faced coaches is particularly striking. The carriages of the train are described as blank faced. That means they appear emotionless, impassive, and indifferent. This description contrasts with the animated curiosity of the birds. While the birds are alive and responsive, the train's coaches seem lifeless and unfeeling, simply moving through the landscape without any awareness or connection of it. Basically, this train has no connection with anything, it is just simply moving through the landscape, and the birds are watching it being hidden in their bushes. But still, they're trying to figure it out as they're actively watching the train, not only for like a mere glance, but they're having a more intense look towards the train. So the train is moving through the landscape without any awareness or have any connection with anything to it. This is what this line depicts. I hope you all like this video, and if you do so, don't forget to like, share and subscribe and comment to this channel. If you have any queries, anything you have to ask, you can ask in the comment section, and I will be uploading a part 2 video of this where I will be explaining the rest of the lines of the poem in a detailed manner. So stay tuned and keep subscribing. Let's grow together. Thank you for watching.